Hi, everybody. I'm just forcing my wife to do a little video here. She's tired. We're exhausted. We've been going through some stuff. And I've been moving shops. Yesterday was my first day off in 7 days, so I'm tired too. But in our last video, I wanted to expound on the child abuse issue within the organization that I was trying to expose to my wife. And so it's the year 2011, 2012. And, well, I did tell her about the child abuse stuff back in 2002, 2003, when the Dateline episode came out with Barbara Anderson in it. And I told her about that. But the Dateline episode didn't expound on the how large the issue was within the organization globally. They only expounded on a couple of people, a few people, a handful of people. Bill Bowen was also in that episode, and he was talking about how he was an elder, and when they called the branch, he was on a child abuse committee, and when they called the branch, him and his two elder buddies that were on the committee called the branch just said, leave it in Jehovah's hands, when this guy had admitted to sexually abusing this child. And Bill Bowen, well, it bothered his conscience. He didn't want to do it. So he called the police, and he was removed as an elder, I believe, and later on stepped down and left the organization and started SilentLambs.org. SilentLambs.org compiles, organizes all of the child abusers that have been caught, prosecuted within the organization. And it's a good website. It's a good website to support. And, you know, it's been around for 19, 20 years now. And it needs more light shown on it. People really need to act interested in what this man and others have to say, because it's protecting the most vulnerable, the most innocent among us. And that's a very important thing.
And those are only the child abusers that get caught?
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that get caught?
Yeah, he has a lot of mugshots on.
Okay. Not the ones that they quietly put back into the organization?
No, because so many of those nobody even knows about. They're just going out in service and knocking on doors and still Jehovah's Witnesses. So I did tell her about the child abuse issue because of what happened to her brother. And her excuse was, you know, it's not huge. It happens in every organization. Jehovah's going to take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get it. I still didn't get it. I was an emotional, you know, like they say, an emotional eater. I was an emotional, spiritual person. I was an emotional eater of their propaganda that was given to us through the organization. So I didn't see the dangers because I was an emotional eater. And so the information they give us stirs our emotions, and that is what is meant to do. It's supposed to stir our emotions and believe that Jehovah is the one that we're protecting. Although I didn't feel like I was supposed to protect Jehovah because I figured he was bigger, but I don't think I realized. I don't think I realized how big it was. I still don't think I realized that.
No, it's a massive problem on a global scale. So anyway, the year 2011, 2012 comes along, and the name Candace Conti starts to circulate the internet. And Candace Conti is a victim of child sexual abuse in a congregation in, I think, Oakley, California, or, well, Southern California, Northern California. Fremont? I think Fremont. Anyway, she had been abused by an elder in a congregation, Jonathan Kendrick. And Jonathan Kendrick had abused his niece, I believe, another child, and had admitted to it to elders in his congregation. These elders covered it up. They called the branch. Branch said, leave it in Jehovah's hands. And nothing happened. But he was an admitted abuser. And Candace Conti was his second victim. He moved to another congregation, and the letter that followed him from the body of elders to his new congregation actually said he was good with children. And so they let him go out in service with children. One of these children was Candace Conti. He would take Candace to his house when they were supposed to be out in service and sexually abuse her from the time she was 9 years old. And this went on for quite a while, and it bothered Candace. A few years later, she went to the elders. Elders said that they didn't believe her, that it's his word against hers. Now, Jonathan Kendrick had been prosecuted by the police for this as well. Somehow he got busted, got prosecuted. So he was on Amber's List, Sexual Child Abuse Database. And Candace Conti found him on this database and knew that he was an admitted, prosecuted abuser of children. So she decided to get a lawyer and sue the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society for 144,000 pennies, because she wanted to send a message that this wasn't about the money. This was about holding Watchtower accountable for allowing children to be harmed. I learned about this case, which Candace won. The jury was so pissed off at the Watchtower Society that they awarded her $28 million. Later on, this was narrowed down to about $3.2 million or something like that. But so I would tell Ina about this as well. And once again,
yeah, I felt for her. I did. But when my husband would tell me this, I would say, you're preaching to the choir. I know these things. I would tell him that.
So imagine my frustration.
Right. I would say, look, I know that. It happened to our family. I know that. And I saw that. But I didn't, again, I was an emotional eater. It was emotions that were tied up. And like I said, I was the crazy Jehovah's Witness. I was the ultimate crazy Jehovah's Witness. And I had so many ties, too, like pioneers. I was an emotional eater. And I often, when he would tell me all these things, like I said, I understood that our family had gone through something similar. And the responses that she had, I had the same experience hearing from my mom, and it didn't seem to connect. I ended up being friends with, like I said, I was the crazy Jehovah's Witness. I was friends with individuals that were deep in the organization. The encouragement from the podium is you want to get right smack in the middle, right in the, You don't want to be on the fringes of the organization. You want to be right in the target zone. And I was in the target zone, which made it harder for me to get any sort of I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't think differently because the people that I associated with were very strong minded, filled propaganda individuals that I associated with. They were filled with the same propaganda and the same mindset, and it was almost impossible for me to get out from that mindset. And that's what I didn't, none of that information ever really went through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told you in my last video, or my hair video, that Lloyd had said to read the book How to Have Impossible Conversations. And one of the hardest things for my husband to try and get me to understand or be present for was the things that he would talk to me about. I couldn't seem to, it wouldn't go through properly. And we would yell at each other at times. We would get frustrated with each other. It's the only time I ever wanted to cuss at my husband, is because I was so angry all the time. We always had to we had heated conversations because I was such an emotional eater, or filled with the propaganda that was given to us. I couldn't seem to get past that Jehovah could do something about it.
It's very frustrating for me to point out proven facts, and they were just dismissed out of hand. It just didn't matter what I said, didn't matter what I showed her, didn't matter what I told her. Jehovah will take care of it. Jehovah will take care of it is the ultimate excuse. Response.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Fixes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Fixes everything.
And when I would see Lloyd, because I would watch Lloyd from time to time. I mean, I didn't sit there. I just kind of hear it in that book, How to Have Difficult Conversations. It's very tactful, how you have to be very tactful. And my husband wasn't tactful. But I don't think it was good that it's hard to understand what your brain is going through. And it's hard to explain. Each individual is so different. It's like a thumbprint. Your brain is different. You process things differently. You've had different experiences in life, growing up in the organization. And so, or just in your family life, what things are normal in your family life, which shouldn't be normal. It's all of that is combined. And sometimes I got irritated with that book because the individual is explaining, the author is explaining to be tactful. And sometimes I had to get hit over the head with the information in order for me to even hear it. Because I think if he was too tactful, I wouldn't get it. And I mean, I just don't think, even if he would try to be tactful, and then he would just hit me over the head with the information. And then he did the same. My husband did the same thing to his mother. Mm-hmm. And both of us had the same response because we thought he was trying to attack Jehovah. I think that's the only thing I can think of, is that you were trying to attack God.
Yeah, because that's the way the Jehovah's Witness brain is wired. Is everything you're getting from the podium is truth from Jehovah. And so if you question any of it, you're questioning Jehovah. God himself. And so when you as a Jehovah's Witness are that brainwashed into the cult, there's nothing that somebody can say. But I do want to say that a few things did plant seeds. And if you're in a situation like mine, where you've been out, wife's still in, wife's still hardcore, using the Watchtower's own literature against itself is the easiest thing in the world to do, because they constantly talk from both sides of their mouth. They'll say one thing, and then say the complete opposite thing. And they've been doing that a lot lately on JW broadcasting. You'll have one governing body member talking about a subject on JW broadcasting 1 month and coming to some conclusion, and you'll have another governing body member talking about the same subject and coming to a completely different conclusion, as if they don't even watch each other's broadcastings and just kind of wing it out there. I know they don't, and I don't know if it's some kind of tactic, just so that they can claim that, yeah, we said this, and then when the opposite argument comes along, they can say, yeah, we said that. Well, yeah, they said both. But like, for instance, in 2009 in Awake magazine, they had an article about a woman who left her religion to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and they were talking about how her family really didn't want her to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. They threatened to kick her out, not have her in their lives anymore if she became one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the Watchtower This Awake article really talked about how cruel this was to do to this woman, because all she was doing was changing her beliefs. And they said that you should never be forced to worship God in a way that you feel uncomfortable with, or be forced to choose between your religion and your family. And then in 2015, an Awake article, or a Watchtower article, came out talking about how your disfellowshipped loved one really needs to see your resolve to put Jehovah first in front of anything else, including the family bond. So which is it? You can't have it both ways.
And I think that's important. Saying it. You can't unhear something.
You can't unhear something.
You can't unhear something. And even if he would say it, and I would drive to the Kingdom Hall. I would drive to the Kingdom Hall and be sitting in the Kingdom Hall thinking about what he said to me. And it would irritate me. I think educating your children, if you're a parent who recognizes all the mind propaganda that has been given to us, if you can, the negative, how it works for us, I would tell your children. I would start to educate the child, because there's so many YouTube videos, and there's this wonderful book called Hold On to Your Kids. And you will lose your children if you continue in this organization. It's not a choice. You don't get a choice as a child. And you go into this organization, and parents will teach their children. And if the parents wake up and the children don't, and if you don't explain to them why why you have made these decisions, it's important to educate yourself as a parent. There's still so much more that I don't even understand, but I'm so very grateful for my husband's education. And like I said, I don't look at videos very much because my life is so busy already, and I'm trying to catch up on life. So books, I get a lot of secular books, and I listen to Audible. And Hold On to Your Kids is on Audible. Dr. Mate's books are on Audible, and you can listen to it. So there are so many things that you can do with your children so that they're not left behind, because it's important, if you are a parent, to educate your kids. I'm sorry. It's kind of emotional, because we're getting the information about the Australian redress scheme, and there's just so much that I just didn't understand that I understand now. And I feel sorry for my brother and all the young boys that I don't even know if they know anything. And their families, the families that I knew that broke up. It's
Mhm.
sad. And I'm so grateful to Australia. We'll put some links below. There's a young man we just saw on YouTube who is trying to lobby. And there's a Senator Hill, which I didn't even know. Because a lot of these families are broken. I know that with my family, it's totally broken. We've all lost touch with the reality of where we are right now in the stream of time and history. I know that with my mom. I mean, I haven't talked to her for years, and I'm not probably going to. I mean, and it's not like, I think Moss from Lloyd, she was explaining, excuse me,
Lloyd's
last video, I think, with Moss on it, and she explained, she had two parents who were
malignant narcissists.
And I think this organization breeds that type of behavior.
It does.
And
really
so
fosters.
eventually the children that are in it, somebody becomes a malignant narcissist or some sort of narcissist in some way, because that's what it breeds. Look at the leaders. So it's just really, really encouraging to see young people taking steps to make changes. Make changes for any school or institution. So lobbying and making sure we get involved. And that's what I encourage all of us, all ExJWs, anybody out there, educating the people around us. I don't know how many people now I've talked to just a little bit about Jehovah's Witnesses, and they have no idea. They don't know that they could possibly have a child molester knocking at their door, and that they're just fed right back into society with nothing done to them. There are no consequences. Nothing. They walk right back in, and they could possibly even get another position in the congregation. There's nothing stopping them, like Candace Conti's experience.
So you see that she really sees how big this issue is now, and as her emotions show, it hits her every once in a while. So, but what that took was me telling her. I wasn't diplomatic about it. I did tell her.
No.
And it was either going to break us up or do this.
Yeah.
Bring her out of it, one or the other.
Took 20 years.
But I wasn't diplomatic about it because, tick-tock, time goes by. I love my wife. I want my wife to be free of this cult. And so I gave her the information that was out there.
And we want you to be free.
Yeah.
We want your families to be free. We want you to make an educated decision. If you want to stay there, well, know what you're getting, who you're sitting next to. If you want to stay in that organization, in any organization, you should know that your children should be safe.
So, back to me not being diplomatic and giving her information, and especially giving her Watchtower's conflicting information, which caused her to sit at meetings and think, right? She wouldn't have sat at meetings and thought about the things she was hearing if I didn't give her these seeds to think about. The things that made her think, right? There was an old Jimmy Stewart movie from the 30s or 40s where Jimmy Stewart played a lawyer. And he was defending somebody. And lawyers have things, lawyers have subjects or things that that are agreed upon not to talk about in court by the two lawyers, the judge. I don't know what reason, I'm not a lawyer. But Jimmy Stewart knew that this information would exonerate his client. And so he stood up and he just rattled off anything and everything he wanted to rattle off in court in front of the jury, information that would exonerate his client. And the judge slammed his gavel down, told Jimmy Stewart he's out of order, he needs to sit down. And Jimmy Stewart sat down, and the judge told the jury to disregard what they just heard. And Jimmy Stewart's client, who he was defending, whispered in his ear, how can somebody disregard something they just heard? And Jimmy Stewart looked at his client and said, they can't. They can't. So you may think that you're not doing any good. And it may look like you're not doing any good, but you're planting seeds in their head that are growing. And I know this. Ina was in for 49 years. She was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
She was in.
I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss memorials, right. Assemblies, sister conventions.
It was hard for her. It was harder for her because her brain had been wired for so long. But with my children, whom Ina was taking to meetings and out in service, I also told them how this organization was a cult. And told them why. Told them the same information I told Ina. And they would sit at meetings and hear talks and think.
The kids are smart.
They would come home and tell me about all the BS they heard at meeting. Because my words caused them to think. So if it's been a year, if it's been 2 years, if it's been 10 years, if it's been 15 years.
40, 50.
If you love your wife, if this is the person, or a wife that's out and a husband that's in, and he or she is willing to stay with you, and you two can get along, and you are soulmates, best friends, stick it out.
Anybody that you love.
Anybody that you love. It
could be a significant other. It could be, it's LGBTQ, whatever. These people that love you, that they care about you and tell you the truth about this organization. And I would always don't give up and not say anything. It's good to listen. It's good to hear. And I'm grateful now. I'm grateful that he shared it with me, even if it hurt, even if it made me angry. He's the only one I ever wanted to cuss out. You still tend to be the only one I ever want to get upset with.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But the sacrifice is worth it.
Totally.
It's never a waste of time to fight for the one you love.
Yeah, exactly.
And it worked.
It worked.
So, in our next video, we'll talk about the things that I never even thought about that got her thinking that had nothing to do with the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. She's already told you about these things in her own videos, but what she was reading, the literature she was reading, the books she was reading, the true stories she was reading, made her think. And
you mean like Mr. Douglas?
Yeah.
Mr. Frederick Douglass?
Yeah. So we've already gone on for a half an hour now. This is probably going to be 2 videos.
No, it's good because it's all right.
Yeah. Or maybe 3 videos. But yeah, in the next video we'll talk about a couple of books that she read that help her put the puzzle pieces together, and an ExJW video that she watched that really drove it home. And then she surprised me with her next move. And she was out. So we'll talk about that in our next video. As of now, as you can tell, we're very tired.
We've had
In fact,
a long week.
You're joining us in bed here. This is our headboard.
I wish you wouldn't have said that. We're just, well, you could probably figure
We're
it
sitting in our bed. Anyway.
Ever.
Could tell.
So, and we'll put links to Cameron. I didn't know Cameron existed. Thank goodness for YouTube, right?
Candace Conti or Cameron?
Cameron.
Cameron Fade?
Yes,
Faded?
Cameron Fade.
Yeah, we'll put some links.
Because that's cool. I had no idea. There's a lot of things that we still don't know, right? That are going on here in the United States.
There are. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ExJW YouTube videos out there now. And I think everybody that watches them and knows the things they know think that every other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses knows those things too. But maybe not.
No, I didn't.
Maybe not. Maybe you're running across our video right now, and this is the first time you're hearing of all of this.
And you're a local, what is it? A local.
Local.
I'm here in Aliso Viejo so far. We'll see where we are in the next few months.
So anyway, that's it for now. Follow your bliss and be good humans.
Follow your bliss and be good humans. Links below. Like and subscribe.
Like and
subscribe. I don't, Brooklyn knows this, but Brooklyn does a better job. Like and subscribe because it helps.
Yeah.
It helps the videos.
It helps the algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms.
Cause more people to watch this
and
video.
we'll hit maybe more ExJWs. Everybody's saying something. Your voice matters.
It does.
Your voice matters.
Thanks for listening to us, guys. Bye.